What's poppin'? It's your girl Jazzy J. How y'all doing today? Welcome to my channel. If you are new around here, welcome. If not, what is up, Buttercup? Today is Sunday, which means it's my lovely little segment, Manga and a Mukbang, where I talk about whatever webcomics I want to talk about because I've read it recently and I enjoyed it. And I eat food. And today's food, I got real lazy. So we're having Indomie. No, this is not sponsored. In fact, I'm not big enough to even... Never mind. Moving on. So I know that the last time I had made a video was quite some time ago, and it's because I've been extraordinarily busy. Apologies for that, for those who are waited with anticipated breath. Not many of y'all, if there's any at all. That's okay. I can't remember what exactly it was that I was talking about the last time, but you're always welcome to go and check it out in the Manga and a Mukbang playlist, which I will go ahead and link down in my description box below. Now, if you guys aren't already, go ahead and follow me on all my social media. I will eventually be getting rid of my Twitter because that is a whole crap show, and I have absolutely no interest in remaining on Twitter, not that I was that active anyway. But I do have a Patreon, I have an Instagram, I have a TikTok, I have a Twitch, which we're working on that one. And I think that should be about it. Yeah, technically I have a Facebook, but we're gonna ignore that, okay? So yeah, go ahead and follow me on all of that. I should be Jazzy J or underscore Jazzy J on everything, so it's not that hard to find me, alright? Cool. If I seem a little tired, it's because I am. I did just finish like an 8-hour shift. I'm filming this Sunday night for the following Sunday. So, and this is also my first meal of the day. Oh, that's the thing. If y'all don't know, now I don't think I've talked about it on here. I was diagnosed this year with abnormal anorexia. So basically that means I have the same eating habits, thought patterns as an individual with anorexia, but I am not anorexic, thus making it abnormal anorexia. Okay, so it's very common for me to go multiple days with only eating one meal. Yeah, I'm working on that. I am in therapy and I am getting help, so but yeah, if you see me, when you see me eating on here, it might be my only meal for the next 3 days. So, if you guys need help or anything like that, please go and get help. Don't just wait and think that help is gonna come to you. No, go get help. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into today's video. So, we're going to be talking about a webcomic called Villain Duke's Precious One. You are free to search the web to find the webcomic for free, if that is what you so choose to do. But if not, then you can always find it on Tapas, which is a webcomic app. You can find it on Google Play Store, you can find it on the Apple Play Store. It's free to download. You probably are going to have to spend a little coin to read it on Tapas. But again, if you would like to scour the web to find it for free, be my guest. A few trigger warnings before we get into things. This particular webcomic contains child neglect, abuse, blood, and some violence. Actually, a lot of violence. A lot of violence. If you grew up in a horrible household, this may not be the webcomic for you. Just putting it out there. So the original language for this particular one, I believe, is in Korean. I think the original one for this is Korean. It falls into the genre of both fantasy and romance. The art quality. Yeah, beautiful. I mean, I'm sure you guys have picked up at this point that rarely would I ever read anything that does not have amazing art, because if I can't If I can't visually look at it and be like, yes, that is appealing, then I'm probably not going to be interested in it, even if the plot is amazing. I know that's a really large drawback on my own personality, but if there's gonna be art, it has to be amazing. If it's not gonna be amazing, just take away the art and just have it be a novel. That's just me personally. So I'm not ever gonna recommend anything that's not, I don't wanna say I'm never gonna recommend. I'm highly likely not going to recommend something that does not have amazing art, okay? And now I will say that doesn't mean that I haven't read webcomics where the art quality has severely plummeted as the webcomic went on, but this one is not one of those webcomics, alright? It is an ongoing series. I believe it is currently on a hiatus. I'm pretty sure that the artist has something going on in their life, but they'll be picking it back up at some point. They're currently, at least on Tapas, they're up to episode 59. Now, if you find it for free on the web, it might be up more than that. It just kind of depends on what country you're viewing it in. Yeah, I think that's right. Now, before we get into the story itself, here's some of my thoughts on it. I absolutely loved it. It is a reincarnation story, but they don't really touch on the fact that it's like a reincarnation story all terribly much. Like, it's mentioned early in the beginning that the main character was brought from another world into this world after she died or something happened. I don't know. She just was in this world that is part of a novel, and she's read the novel for it, and that's pretty much the end of the reincarnation part. Okay, that's just thrown out the window within the first chapter. I love it. I think it's absolutely hilarious. I think it's a great read. I think it's a very interesting standpoint because you're going based off of the side character of the main villain from the original novel. And basically the side character is like, okay, so I have to make sure that I'm still alive, because in the original novel, my character dies. Like, I just straight up die. So to make sure that doesn't happen, we have to get on the villain's good side, and we have to completely throw out the hero, the main protagonist, and any of the protagonist's helpers, because my life matters. Okay? And then as you kind of as you go throughout the series, you see like, oh damn, the villain isn't really a villain so much as they were an individual who just wanted to mind their own business, and people just wanted to take out their frustrations on them because they're way up in an isolated area. And they have a bad reputation because of what ancestors did. It's now affecting the villain. I'm just like, the villain's not giving villain. It's not giving villain, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not upset at that. Okay, it's like he was thrown into the role of a villain because they had no one else to fill the role of villain, and the hero, at least the family of the hero, wants the hero to be worshipped. So, yeah. Quick summary synopsis of the story. Dietrich Lagrange. Yeah, I always said this in my head, so let me try this again. Dietrich Lagrange is destined to become the story's most evil villain in a family where everyone cruelly vies to claim their place as its head. But somehow, Anissa is worming her way into his cold, shut-off heart. Little does he know that she's actually a reader reborn as his baby sister. No matter what happens, she plans to survive the story rather than live out her character's original deadly fate. Can she remain by Dietrich's side as he rises in power within the dangerous Lagrange family? Ta-da! That's it. I mean, I feel like I summed up the story like twice now, but anyway. So let's go ahead and get into the story itself. Just a little bit. The story starts out with the main character, Anissa, as a toddler. She's like 5, I think, starting out. And she's with her brother, Dietrich. We find out pretty much instantaneously that Anissa and Dietrich are not actually blood relatives. They're not actually brother and sister. You don't find out how this happens until later on in the story, but we are told right off rip that Dietrich's mother, who was tragically killed, kidnapped Anissa, who is actually the blood relative of the main hero. She's actually the younger sister of the main hero who was supposed to kill Dietrich. I know, right? Confusing. Anyway, so Anissa, being the individual who has read the story, is like, oh damn, now that I'm in the body of Anissa, here's how Anissa played out in the story. I have to make sure that this doesn't happen to me, because I will be used and then thrown out like a stale cookie. Okay? So she's basically like, here's a lot of child neglect, child abandonment going on. Once you find out that she's 5, and Dietrich's like, okay, so here, use a rattle, you're gonna have to protect yourself. And it's literally a shank disguised as a rattle. And he's like, yeah, it'll only work for you. And she's like, I'm 5. What? You want me to just shake the rattle in front of somebody's neck to just send them off to the netherworld? Is that what you want me to do? No. No, I'm too young to take the life of another. Oh boy. Anyway, so they jump back just a little bit to when she was an infant and when she was actually brought home. Well, when she was actually retrieved, because Dietrich's mother never made it back home. So this is the main part for a lot of people where this is probably going to bother you. Now, thankfully, the main characters, because she's already lived a life before, she's like, yo, this is not going to get me down because I know what you're doing is wrong. But basically, when she was an infant, she was left alone in the cot by herself for hours. No one played with her. No one talked to her. There was only one, well, technically there were two, no, there was only one servant that was assigned to her, who was technically Dietrich's mother's servant originally, but when Dietrich's mother died, then her servant got transferred down to Anissa, and he was awful. Like, he would leave bruises on her, he would feed her cold milk. She wasn't even like 1 yet. Like, when I say an infant, like an infant swaddled in cloth, okay? Baby, feeding her cold milk, wasn't giving her any food. Even when she got to the point where she was old enough where she was able to walk by herself, she developed teeth, or she grew out her teeth, and she was at the age like 2, 3, around that time, 1, 2, 3, something like that, and she was supposed to start eating solid foods. She was still being served cold milk, and there was nobody in their castle. So like, the Lagrange castle in and of itself is split up into, I think it's 3 or 4 different sections. So you have the place where Dietrich and Anissa are, which is pretty much just desolate, abandoned. It's only Dietrich, Anissa, and their 2 servants, so it's like 4 people, and that's pretty much it. Then you have like the Rose Castle, which is a different part of the Lagrange. Like, main head Lagrange dude has like multiple wives, okay? Or slaves, technically speaking, since he bought them. Then you have the main head where the head of the household lives, and then you have 1 other section. So yeah, I think there's 4 sections there. But where Anissa and Dietrich are, it is desolate. The servants keep taking the money and they go out and spend the money. They don't have any food. Dietrich, at the ripe age of like, 7, maybe even younger than that, had to go out and start hunting animals so that he could live, because nobody would give him food, nobody would give him water, nobody took care of him. When he was sick, he was just abandoned and left to the way. Like, it's Thankfully, there's a lot of humor in this, because if there wasn't a lot of humor, it'd be a very tough read. Being completely transparent with you right there. Anissa was the one who would go off to find Dietrich when she realized that neither of the servants were giving him any food or water, or milk. Like, she would bring her own bottle of cold milk to Dietrich and say, drink this, because I don't think you're eating at all. I don't know when your last meal was. You don't find out later on until one of the servants, the Dietrich servant, told Anissa when Anissa found some chocolate in the kitchen, because she literally wandered off in search of food because she was only getting milk. Found the chocolate. The servant was just like, why are you eating my chocolate? Why don't you just act like your brother and go out into the forest and hunt for food? I don't see as to why I should have to take care of you. Girl is like 4, and she's being told this by somebody who is supposed to raise her and take care of her. I was like, wow, okay. I can't say for certain, but I think later on in the story that particular maid is killed by Dietrich, but they don't ever show that nor talk about it in the story. I just know that she's not there one day anymore, and Dietrich isn't really the merciful type, if you know what I mean. The whole race to head of the household thing, it was something that was brought on by the previous head of the household, who made a contract with the demon Asmodeus and essentially said all the heirs will literally fight for the head of the household. And when I say fight, I mean siblings have to physically kill each other in order to be considered for a succession to the head of the household, and then you make a pact with Asmodeus, and there are a lot of other things that you have to do in order to become head of the household, and yada yada yada. And I'm just like, wow, this sounds like abuse. Just abuse. Just, oh, okay. And again, you don't find this stuff out until like way later on in the story. But the way that Anissa just like goes about her life, they do grow up as the story goes on. Like, they don't stay that age forever. Thankfully. God, I don't know if I could read a story where the main character stays 5 for the entirety of the story. Like, there's gotta be like actual growth and development and whatnot. It can't be 5 forever. I digress. I'm getting off track. Because of Anissa's personality, it actually makes the story incredibly funny and such a worthwhile read. In fact, this time that I read it was probably the 2nd or 3rd time that I have read it through. And I will definitely be reading it through again once more episodes come out, because it is very engaging, it is very worthwhile, and I absolutely 1000% recommend it to anybody who wants to see your not so typical romance fantasy webcomic type of thing. Do I want to say who I ship? Okay, so this is just me personally, but I very much ship Anissa and Dietrich. Hear me out. I know that they were raised, well, I know that throughout the majority of the story, we're constantly reminded that they're siblings, or they're being raised as siblings. But that's not really their relationship, okay? It's more so both parties are looking out for themselves, and then when they can, they help each other out. So it's more like friends from, yeah, I guess I do want to say friends. So it's more like 2 kids from different families. One family abandoned the kid, the other family had a death in the family. They decided it'd be easier to just raise the children together. They're not blood related at all. They don't act like siblings because they've kind of been abandoned. It's kind of like childhood sweethearts, almost. like they're taking care of each other. Dietrich is literally protecting her because some of the other siblings are trying to come after Anissa with trying to take her life and whatnot. And Anissa in turn is giving Dietrich food. She's taking care of Dietrich when he gets sick. She's making sure that Dietrich isn't lonely, like physically lonely. Like Dietrich has a demon. I feel like I'm giving away so many spoilers. Dietrich has a demon who is actually a demon king. Like he's a contract to a demon king. So technically he's not lonely. But like having a contract with a demon king is not exactly the same as having a human companion, one that actually says, I love you and I want to be around you. Please let me be around you. You know, there's a difference, okay? The contracted demon is like there by contract. And not only that, if something goes wrong in any way, shape, or form, like Dietrich is unable to control the demon, or Dietrich ends up not becoming the head of the household, or for whatever reason, the demon will then eat Dietrich. So it's kind of like you're there, but you're not really there. So Anissa is pretty much the only person who is there for Dietrich. And I'm like, I don't see an issue with it. I mean, obviously I see a large issue with none of the adults taking care of any of the children within this story. But again, there is a reason for that. I'm not going to spoil that one. You just got to go out and read it and figure out as to why the adults aren't taking care of the kids. There is a legitimate reason for it. But yeah, I think it's an absolutely fantastic read. I highly encourage you guys to go out and read it. If this isn't really your cup of tea, go ahead and drop that down in the comments as to why or why not. Did you like this video? Leave me a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and turn on that bell notification so that you know when I post another video. Share this video, please. I really would like to get monetized someday, and it's really hard to do that when no one's watching the video. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That sounds so aggressive and judgmental. It is, and I'm not taking that back. Like I'm not coming off of that. But share this video, A, so that I can get monetized, and B, because I'm pretty sure I'm 1,000% sure there are a crap ton of other nerds out there who absolutely love webcomics, and I want all of us to just come together and talk and discuss about webcomics, okay? So please go ahead and do that. If you have any other suggestions for me to read, go ahead and drop that down into the comments below, okay? And that's about all that I have. So, until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.